Hey everybody, it's that time. I just want to walk you through what's been going on with the Global Specs website growth plans, and which are essentially our maintenance and premium hosting. I definitely want to discuss with you some recent issues that we had with malware. I want to talk about privacy policies and terms and conditions and a couple of new hires. So stay tuned, and this will be a really quick video. We're currently kind of watching an issue we had a couple weeks ago. Some of you might have had some emails that come through changing passwords. We had discovered that some malware had gotten into one of our servers. So it didn't impact anybody's websites. Luckily, we've got a lot of notifications and checks and all that good stuff that kind of makes us aware. But it was a bit of a concern. So we did go through this one server, and all of the websites that we managed, we updated passwords. So it has been resolved. I do recommend, if you have access to your website, I recommend periodically going in and changing your passwords. Speaking of passwords, if you haven't done this yet, in our company, we use LastPass. So I highly recommend using a service like LastPass. It helps you manage not only your own personal passwords, but I also use it for the company. So I'm able to parse out who can see what when it comes to logins and passwords, who has access to what passwords. So it's a really great way for me to control who sees what and when. And I just highly recommend that. No matter what size company you have, we think possibly one of the ways this malware was able to get in was they got somebody's login and passwords. We're not sure, but it is one of those ways, and you'd be surprised how easily it can happen. And not be something that they hacked into your website, but they may have called you and said, hey, we're so-and-so, we need to get in. All right, so malware, passwords. Now let's talk about policies, terms of service, disclaimers, and cookies. One thing I want to make you aware of is there's been a lot of changes over the past years. You guys know that we have a privacy policy tool. It's called Termageddon. It is not something that we own. We actually resell for this company. They are a team of lawyers that are dedicated to privacy policies. They track privacy policies across the nation, actually across the world. And I just highly recommend that you kind of get away from a basic terms of service privacy policy that you might kind of click on some generator or copy it from another website. It can get really tricky to kind of maintain that. The cool thing I love about Termageddon is that they are tracking this for us. For example, they've added Australia. Australia has their own privacy policies, as well as Europe. So when we go into these tools, it asks you a lot of questions. If you have a website that is visible in the UK, or you have business in the UK or Europe or Australia, and we have a lot of clients that are in the energy field that are international. So they could quite possibly have somebody in the UK look at their website and reach out to them. So anybody that fills out a form, this does not have to be e-commerce related. This can just simply, they provided an email address. They filled out a very simple contact form that is subject to privacy policies. I highly recommend, we do have this service. If you are on our partner plan, it is included. So if you have a partner plan, we have not talked to you yet, feel free to reach out to us, support@globalspecs.com. The next thing is just a little bit of update on the privacy policy. So Connecticut just recently passed a bill protecting the privacy of their residents. And it's got, applying basically anybody that does business within Connecticut. And this applies to people that are not in Connecticut. So if you have a nationwide business and you might reach out to somebody in Connecticut, it is really important that you have one of these privacy policies. It does not go into effect until July 1st, 2023, but it is still a good idea to kind of refresh. What we try and do every year is go through everybody's privacy policy. Sometimes it's really easy. It only takes about 5 minutes, or there's maybe extra couple questions in there. Other than that, make sure that it's updated. So feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to walk through. Right, real quick, a current list of states. There's several of them, but Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, and if you just look at this screenshot here, you can see all of the different states that currently have very strict privacy policies. So another thing about privacy policies, if you get any emails asking what your privacy policy is, and here's a screenshot of one of them, if you have a privacy policy, then you're okay. In that privacy policy, there are, and in terms of service, disclaimers, all of that, it does have the contact information. So if you have it all written out and displayed how to reach out to you, you should be good. Just respond within about 30 to 45 days. Your privacy policy already has details that they're already asking about, but you want to clarify who is your designated privacy policy person. This could be office manager, it could be a lawyer, it could be the CEO, whoever that person is. Now, a next feature that is starting to roll out, it's in the same service, is a cookie management. I realize it's a bit of the footers that you see on all of these things. It's crazy. And I have one on my website. It's important if you do any kind of international business. Europe is pretty strict about it, and I believe that the US is going to start to kind of track that as well. And what it is that if you have any kind of Google Analytics, you are tracking people in some way. It's not always specific, and to me it's a little over the top having to have these cookie policies, but it tracks IP address, it tracks demographics, it tracks user interface on the website. You've seen, if you use Google Analytics and you've been to those reports, you can get some really good data. Now, it's anonymous data. I don't know specifically who it is, but it's still important. It's just that type of tool of when you're trying to look at. It's still a European requirement, and so far it's not necessarily become a US requirement. But again, if you have a website and you work globally, it is something to consider. And the final news announcement is that we have hired 2 more people. I might have mentioned Aura in the prior video, I'm not sure, but she is our new executive assistant and also our social media manager. So she's been doing a really excellent job with our own social media work, and she's started to work on some of our clients. Also, there's June. June is our new designer. We desperately needed a designer to help us figure out more front-end designs, some logos, graphic design. So we are really happy to have him on board. Okay, so that's about it. Privacy policies, watch your passwords no matter what account you have, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.